Good evening, Tigard. Council President John Goodhouse.
Councilor Liz Newton, and we are here to answer your questions this evening. So we're happy to discuss whatever's on your mind. So if you have a question, please submit them in the comment box. And we're recording this event, so it'll be posted on the city's YouTube channel, so you can catch up with us later. We're going to make a few opening remarks before taking your questions. I guess I'll start. Ballots are in the mail. I got mine today, and so please vote. You have to have your ballot received in the elections office by November 3rd, Tuesday, November 3rd. They suggest if you're going to mail it in that you do that by October 27th. And we have an official ballot drop box in the City Hall parking lot. It's really easy to find. It's well signed. So recommend you consider just dropping off there as well. So please take the time to look at the issues and candidates and vote.
And you can always go to the Washington County Elections website and see if you don't get your ballot, you can always contact them to find out where it is or why you didn't get one or to get a replacement one. And once you submit your ballot, either if you mail it or drop it in a ballot box, you can go to that website and track your ballot and see once it's been received and logged and they're tallying the votes. So some people may be worried about if they got lost in the mail or if they dropped in the drop box and it didn't get there. So you can actually track your ballot as well. And I think, and also keep an eye on the chat box because Kent Wyatt here will go ahead and put links in that as well. And I'm sure he'll put a link to the Washington County's election site so you can check and make sure that you got your ballot sent to you and then also when it's been received.
You want to go ahead and talk about board and committees?
So we have, right now, we have boards and committees openings for citizens to apply for them. The city of Tigard has well over a dozen different committees and so forth we work on. We have budget committees, we have a transportation committee, we have a town center advisory committee. It's a way for the council, because we can't be everywhere and get input from everyone, but we have all these committees and boards for those committees to work on different topics of the city, research areas, come back with feedback to the council, and sometimes we even have projects go to these committees to work on so we can get information from them. So it's really a way for people to get involved in the city. A lot of times it's only maybe a requirement of an evening a month. Not a lot of time requirement, but it's a way for people to get involved and be active in the city.
Yeah, so really encourage you to take a look on our website and see if there's a committee that sparks your interest. Census 2020 ends tonight, and we've talked a lot about this the last few months. Please, if you haven't completed your census, you can go online, and it needs to be filled out by midnight tonight. We're thinking that might be East Coast time, so if it is, that means 9 p.m. our time. And remember, everyone counts, and so we really encourage you to, if you haven't already filled out your census, to take, it's less than 5 minutes. It was real easy. I went and did it, and it's real easy. So go on this evening and take care of that for us.
And on that note, the reason why the census is so important is that it puts a population number in each area, and that can actually change how many seats of Congress we have at the federal level, how many senators we have. There's a possibility this time around that we may actually be able to add additional congressional district in Oregon, which would give more voices to the state of Oregon. But also by counting the numbers and how many people you have, each city, each county, each state will get more resources, more money from the federal government based on the population. So it's not a matter of just whether or not counting you as how many people in your household, it's how much resources come to the area. So we can have better roads, we can have more transportation. There's even community development block grant money that comes in that helps the less fortunate areas or less fortunate for affordable housing, putting sidewalks in underserved areas. So it really makes a huge difference. So every number counts. It only takes a few minutes. If you're on social media and have a link, please share it so your friends and neighbors can make sure to do it. It takes a few minutes, but it's definitely worth it, and that way we can get the resources we need in our area rather than going to another state or city or somewhere else in the country.
Okay, Renters' Rights Education Workshop. We've got that coming up on October 26th from 6 to 8. It's in the evening, 6 to 8 p.m. It's an opportunity to learn more about renters' rights, including the basic fair housing protection laws, the eviction moratorium and how that's working, and rental assistance resources. You can find out about the programs the city has and how you can make your voice heard. And we're going to have some resource providers there available there so you can ask questions and find out if there's assistance available that might be beneficial to you. So encourage you to check that out.
And while we're on the topic of that with renters assistance, the city council did months ago approved the Tigard aid package, and a couple weeks ago we actually reinforced it and added a little bit more to the aid package. And Kent will post the link there. But for residential customers, if you're being affected by COVID or a lower income, you can go in there and have your entire utility bill credited. Not before, it was just going to be the base utility charge. Now you can have the entire utility bill credited, and even if you're in arrears, it can be credited as well. And this will be in place through the end of December. And if you're a commercial business and you've been impacted by COVID or affected by it, you can actually apply for it as well and get up to a $500 credit per month off your utility bill. So please, either businesses or residents, please go on there. Or if you know anyone that might be struggling during this time, a business or any residents, please pass that link along to them. And there's a number on there if you have any questions of how to do it or run any problems. You can call to talk to a city staff member. They'll help walk you through that as well.
Okay, we're getting some questions here. The first question I'm going to let Council President Goodhouse answer, which is, what's the status of Halloween in Tigard?
So that's a couple different questions on that with the status of Halloween. One, if you're talking about trick-or-treating in neighborhoods and so forth, we do have a link on the city's website as far as what the Oregon Health Authority recommends. And with that, we're just referring that question to people. But Tigard, downtown Tigard is actually doing a trick-or-treat Main Street. It's going to start the 18th and go through November 1st. There's going to be a photo booth, scavenger hunt. A lot of businesses will be partaking in that. If you go to the that Facebook page or through the website, and I'm sure Kent Wyatt will post that on there as well, you can take a look and see what activities they're doing. And normally what's happened before is downtown businesses have usually handed out candy to trick-or-treaters and everyone walked around. Well, with COVID, we're not able to do that or have the gatherings going on. So instead, there's going to be probably about 2,500 bags of goodie bags that are going to be given to Packed with Pride that works with the school district, and they'll be handed out to everyone that comes through, gets those services, gets the food boxes. So those bags will go through them, and that'll probably be done at Tigard High. But otherwise, to kind of keep update what the downtown businesses are doing, take a look at the Explore Downtown Tigard on that. And otherwise, just as a city stance, we're going to refer everyone to the Oregon Health Authority, what you should do or not do with trick-or-treating in your neighborhoods or with your kids.
Yeah, so again, that Halloween activity is not your standard trick-or-treat Main Street on one day. It's over a 2-week period, and there's activities about, on our website about that are listed about how that's going to work. And it looks like it'll be fun. You can do the scavenger hunt and take some pictures and have a good time exploring downtown for the Halloween.
And also our Parks and Rec as well, and you might be getting me a lot of links in this chat on this one, but our Parks and Rec is actually doing a pumpkin scavenger hunt around the city of Tigard. And I think they're on number 4 now, where I think there's clues or hints, and you as a family can go find where there's a laminated picture of a pumpkin on a tree or somewhere. You can go find it where it's at, take a picture of yourself next to it, and send that in. I think there might be prizes or goodies that can be sent, but our Parks and Rec is doing a great job of doing socially distanced events. A couple weeks ago, they had a virtual 5K where you could go walk, do that by yourself at the end, just take a picture of yourself, send it in, and there was a separate time you can come back as a family and get a goodie bag, and you know, there are ways of going on, so keep an eye on the Parks and Rec page as well for activities that you can do with your family that are also socially distanced. Right.
Okay, the next question, are there council seats on the November ballot? That's a good question. Yes, we have 2 council seats that their terms are up at the end of the year. Councilor Lube is running for one of the seats. She was appointed in 2 years ago to fill the unexpired seat of Jason Snyder when he became mayor. And Councilor Tom Anderson is a candidate for Metro District 3, so that's an open seat. So we have 2 seats, and we've got, I believe, 6 folks running. Councilor Lube is running for re-election, as I said, and we've got 5 others running for 2 seats. And the way it works in Tigard is the top 2 vote getters are considered the successful candidates. So look for that on your ballot.
Yeah. And that is closed now so there's not any new applications for council candidates, but they'll be on the ballot, and everyone should have either gotten their voter's guide in the mail. If anyone didn't, again, you can refer back to the chat with the county elections. You can actually get a digital copy of the voter's pamphlet that have all the statements from candidates and what's going on with the different ballot measures as well.
Okay, we have another question. Hi, Councilor President Goodhouse and Councilor Newton. Thank you so much for your service to the Tigard community. You're welcome. We love doing this. Do any of the committees you mentioned provide stipends or any other resources to reduce barriers for those who typically don't participate in civic engagement service? Well, that's a really good question. We don't have stipends. We do, depending on the committee, sometimes we provide meals, so it depends on the committee, but we don't actually have a system where we provide stipends.
No,
yeah,
that might be something we're looking into.
Yeah.
We do have with our upcoming safety advisory board. We did talk about that, and I think we implemented for those that may need a basic stipend for either travel, daycare,
computer.
or computer. Was it
Because it's virtual.
Yeah.
So computer, but also I think we did a stipend because wasn't sure if it was in person. We might have done something with daycare or transportation.
Right.
So that would be something that would be good for us to take a look in the future. If you want to write in the comments of what you maybe would see as a barrier from yourself or anyone you may know,
Yeah.
so we have some examples of what stipends would be good for people. It always helps for us to know what those barriers are, as we'd like to have more citizens available.
Yeah, I was going to suggest the same thing. If you wouldn't mind taking a minute and letting us know what barriers would be obstacles for you to participate, that would be really helpful for us.
Perfect. And we do also have an email that goes to the entire council, the mayor, the city manager, assistant city manager, which is council mail. And Kent can put that in the comments as well. And feel free anytime to email the council any questions, or even break that summary down as well. That way it'll go to the whole council. We can all see that at once as well.
Yeah. Next question. What experience do you recommend having to run for Tigard City Council? Well, one thing that I think is a good thing to have is some civic involvement of some sort, just to give you an idea of, so you have a sense of how the city operates, whether it's on a board or committee, some involvement in the schools, or some involvement in a nonprofit. It's just sort of helpful for folks to have been involved in the community in some way, just to get a sense of how things work. That's helpful, I think. What would you suggest?
Yes, I agree. A lot of times it's great to be on some kind of a board or committee first. If you serve on one of our committees, you be on a board, be on some kind of a volunteer activity in the community. It's always good to kind of get you an idea of how, to see if something you like, the feel for it. You get a little learning the process of how a board meeting works. There's Robert's rules, there's ways to make motions and do stuff, so there's a little bit of the technical part of it. Once you get on council, there's so many different areas. I always kind of say we go from anywhere from a pothole to an entire $180 million budget. We kind of go all the way around. But the biggest thing if you're going to want to run or be on council is usually a passion to serve and represent your community, because you're going to be out there at events, you're going to be doing things like this. Council meetings are every Tuesday night for usually about 2 to 3, maybe 4 hours, and you have usually hundreds of pages of things to go through, from code amendments to budgets to committees. It can be everything and anything. The biggest thing I always say for people to stay away from is if you're trying to get a road fixed on your neighborhood or a pothole or have one issue, don't run for council, get on a board or committee or write into council. Sometimes people say, oh, that's one issue fixed, but don't realize they're going to spend 3.5 years on everything else but that topic.
Right, and it's always interesting to see what comes up when you're on council. The next question, will there be additional support for those impacted by COVID? That's a really good question. As Council President Goodhouse mentioned, we do have some assistance programs in place right now that go through the end of the year, and quite frankly, we're going to be keeping an eye on that. We're going to be keeping an eye on folks and the situation in our community, how many people are taking advantage of those programs that need the assistance, what things are we hearing in the community that people might need assistance with. We're still in phase 1, and as a city councilor, I'm concerned about households that are under or unemployed, and I'm concerned about our businesses too. So we're going to be keeping an eye on it. It's definitely possible. We'll be continuing some programs. Right now, the programs we have in place go through the end of the year. I don't know if you have anything to add.
I agree. Yeah, we have some of those programs into the end of the year, but there's also a lot of different agencies or organizations or options out there that can help people. So I always recommend, if someone's unclear, maybe if something's covered or how to get some assistance, please contact the city, and we can always work on putting you in the right direction to figure out whether or not it might be for some homeless need, rent assistance, there's a lot of organizations, so
Utilities.
we're a great resource to put people, because a lot of times people don't know what's out there, what Tigard has, but that's what we're here for as a city and a council. Go ahead and send us a message, we can help point you out, but we're trying to do what we can as a city, but also what we can do to also make sure we keep the lights on and the city running too. So we have a pretty tight budget, and we found some ways to help out, and some of the things we did, we got some federal reimbursement back, so that helped us to allow us to be able to do a little bit more. And right now I think the water one's a great way to help people out, but we're always looking for recommendations too. If people want to give suggestions of what they may see would help or what would help out, we can always look at that or see what we can do.
And then we also do things like the school district is doing the Pact with Pride, which is providing food boxes to families in need, and the city has provided some financial resources to that group so that they can use those funds to buy food. So we're also looking for ways to help other agencies or other groups that are doing things to help out the community that we can support. So
the next question: what's been the most rewarding part of serving on council? For me at least, the most rewarding part is really just to be part of the community, to be able to help people out and serve the community. There's so many great things we can do for the community. So many wonderful people I meet on a regular basis, and really being a voice for people and getting the message out there and finding ways more to communicate with citizens. That's my favorite part, is to do things like this, go to events, walk around the farmers market, and just talk to people, see what's people's mind, and kind of build a city together that we love and we feel safe in.
And I would echo that. My favorite part of being on the council is engaging with the community. I learn a lot by listening to folks about their perspective on the different issues that come before the council, and so it's really important for me that people tell us what's on their mind so that we know we have the best information that we can get when we're trying to make a decision on an issue before us. But so listening, learning about what's on people's minds, just engaging with the community, and trying to solve problems, find ways to address our community's problems that are beneficial to the most of the community members. I also I'm the council liaison to the Youth Advisory Council, and I enjoy that. I continue to be impressed with the youth that we have in our community and the energy they have behind trying to be involved. So that's fun. Our water rate's going to be increased this month. Not this month. No. Yeah. We delayed the last increase. There was going to be an increase in July, and we delayed it to January. And we're looking at that closely. We do have, maintenance responsibilities for all of our infrastructure, our water, sewer, roads, storm drain systems, all that. We try to do a good job maintaining all of those systems because it's been expressed by our community that that's an important value to keep our infrastructure that we've invested in well maintained. But we're going to be taking a look at that in the coming months in relation to where our economy is and where we are with COVID. So we'll be having a discussion on that by the end of the year. So. Yeah,
and just a follow up on that. For the city, our fiscal year, it starts July 1 and goes the following year in July. So we run from July to July. We usually have a couple months before that. We have our budget committee. We decide what the new budget's going to be, so forth. So with COVID, we decided to delay a lot of the rate increases we had on July 1st to January 1. And at the beginning of this month, we had a first ever kind of a quarterly budget get together, which is 5 councilors and 5 citizens that make up the budget committee. And we were taking a look at what we wanted to do going forward, if we wanted to extend those rate increases further out or still do the increases. And as Councilor Newton handed on a little bit, is that those rate increases are needed to take care of a lot of the different infrastructure, make sure that we're staying up on repairs, whether it's road maintenance or water or so forth, to make sure that they're staying at a proper maintained level. So what was brought up, was recommended that if we go ahead and go forward with the increase in January, some of those rates, is that we have programs set up for those that can't pay their bills, or we keep extending the utility credit or something like that, that we have a source for people that may be affected by it, that they could apply for assistance in those areas. But those that can pay it, we still pay for it and keep our water infrastructure in place to keep the rest of the city going as well.
Okay, I'm going to let you start the next question. It's about Southwest Corridor because you're a little bit more familiar with it than I am. So.
So there's the question is, I received a bunch of mailers about the Southwest Corridor. Can you tell me about the ballot measure and how it impacts the community? So the ballot measure coming up in November that Metro put out is a transportation package, and so a big part of it, as far as with the with Tigard, is going to be the Southwest Corridor funding. So for that, the project's about 2.4 billion for the project, and from this Get Moving 2020 measure, there's estimated about 950 million is going to come from that measure that would go towards the Southwest Corridor. But they've picked about a couple dozen different corridor projects throughout the metro region, and Metro covers it can go away from Forest Grove, Hillsborough, it's basically at Clackamas County, Multnomah County, Washington County falls into the metro area. There's a lot of projects that will be in there. So Southwest Corridor is a part of it, but it's also all the other transportation packages that are going to go in there, whether or not it be roads, improving safety for crossing, people can walk and so forth. And there was a bunch of different talks about how it would be, or how it would be paid for, and so it got settled on to be an employer payroll tax. And so it's solely on that. So there's been a lot of different opposition back and forth on how that's going to be collected and what effect that's going to be. But right now it's a transportation project, and Southwest Corridor is a part of it. If this doesn't pass in November, then the Southwest Corridor project will be put on pause until they can figure out a funding source, because there's no other way to come up with $1 billion on that.
Right. So again, to summarize, the impact on our community would be, if it doesn't pass, the Southwest Corridor funding is, we don't have an identified source for the Southwest Corridor funding.
No.
And another project that's Tigard centered in the transportation package is Pacific Highway 99, and that's for planning, right? We lobbied our legislation to get $5 million for studied 99W coming from Portland, going through Tigard into Sherwood. So all the communities in the area have gotten together to really take a look at a study, because that's one of the biggest things that always comes up is 99W, the congestion. The reason why it's never at the top of the project list is because there's never really been a full study done of what the impact is and what could be done to fix it. So there's going to be $5 million that's going to be looked at to do an impact study to see what can be done with 99W and what fixes can be done to take care of it. Yeah, and the funding would be, employers would pay up to 0.75% of their payroll tax, and employers with 25 or fewer employees and local and state governments would be exempt from that tax. And the tax wouldn't take effect until 2022, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Correct, okay. So hope that's helpful. We do have some information on our website, and Mr. Kent Wyatt will create another link for you there. Okay. The next question comes from the Dairyville neighborhood. What big projects are planned for the upcoming year? I don't know if you're thinking about in the Dairyville neighborhood or just generally in the city. If you're talking about your neighborhood, I would want to look and see. We wouldn't know yet, but I would want to look and see if we've got anything with regard to our pavement maintenance program, because we do street maintenance in the summer, but that list probably isn't available yet. So, and I don't know, I could look really quick, I've got my iPad here, to see if there's any capital improvement projects in your neighborhood. So I would have to check, and if you want to leave your contact information in the chat box, I am happy to get back with you. If you're talking about the city in general, one of the things that you may have heard about is the Public Safety Advisory Board. And so that's a new initiative that we're undertaking in the next year, the next couple of months. We'll probably get kicked off. If you haven't been tuned into that, we ask the community, we ask people to apply to be members of that board. We're going to have 6 community members and 2 alternates as members of that board, and we got 39 applications, I believe. Maybe it was 38. Yes, 39. And we let the community review the applications and weigh in, so we could get a consensus on the members that the council should, or the applicants the council should consider for membership. And so council is going to be reviewing I believe it's 16 applications that the community has recommended come forward to the council, and we'll be reviewing those on the 27th. So it's important work, and you can get more information about what's involved in that board on the city's website. And if you have more specific questions, just enter them into the chat box and we'll answer them. I don't know if you have a follow-up.
I was going to say that the city website's a great resource to see if there's any kind of projects coming forward as well. So sometimes you want to look on there, as Councilor Newton said, that we do repaving in areas. Sometimes it's just a coating over the top of it. Sometimes it's redoing it. If there's any future projects, that's just a great way to jump on there and take a look at what's going on as well. And speaking of the website, and I noticed we have two other questions, but I wanted to say this while it was on top of my head, is the city has now an online complaint system that you can go on there and log if you see anything wrong with as far as parking, if there's a vehicle that's been parked on your street for a while, illegally parked, if you see like an RV or someone's parking vehicles, if you see something with a stop signs wrong or no parking areas. There's a whole slew of different things you can jump on now, and even so it can be on the one side of parking, but it can also be on the police side too, where you can jump on there, file an online complaint, and then they can be taken care of, and they'll email you and follow up with you later. So that's a great resource. We're checking it out still, but it works with GPS, so you can actually do a pin drop of the location of what you saw, the problem in the city, and our staff will get back to you in a couple of days or more. They'll let you know when it's got back and follow up with it. So. I know a lot of times people see things or have questions or want something fixed, but now with this online resource, you can actually jump in there, type it, you can take pictures of it as well, and that way our staff can take care of it. So something we're trying out. And on that line with safety, we had a briefing from the chief. I wanted to let people know too that there seems to be a little more high theft of catalytic converters and things. So if people can be a little more, and break-in of cars, people seem to be in Tigard leaving their vehicles unlocked,
keys in their car,
unlocked with the keys in the car.
Let's take our keys in the house with us, people.
So lock them up. Don't leave things visible in your car, because there's been more break-ins with vehicles. There's been more people stealing catalytic converters. So just have your house well lit, your doors locked, your car's locked, items in your car covered up. The problem that's going on right now with COVID is that usually these people, if they got caught, they'd be taken to the jail and then they'd be sentenced and have their jail time. Right now, with the jails being full or can't take them with COVID, they're being written a citation and let go. So basically, they're committing crime and back out, they're repeating it again. So with these times, we have to be a little more vigilant. Watch out for your neighbors' houses. Keep your lights on. Keep your items protected, and don't leave your house and car unlocked.
Okay, we'll get back to a couple of other projects in a little bit, but the next question. I want to get to your questions. Will the library be reopening anytime soon? Well, unfortunately, since we're in phase 1, and our cases unfortunately are on the increase in Washington County, we don't have a word yet on when we'll be able to reopen the library. Don't imagine it will be in the next month or so.
I think hasn't the library been doing some kind of book return?
We do, but the building is.
They're doing some, but yeah, the library itself. But there's been kind of some makeshift with the library books being returned. Can they check books out from that option too, or is it only?
Yeah,
you can. You can go do hold. You can. There's an option for you to go to the library and get a hold. You can. There's a drive up. There's a drive up service, so you can check that out. But the building itself is not open.
So I think you can go online or call and put your order in for what books you want. Basically, drive up, get the books, and leave. And then when you return them, the same setup is. So there's still an option to go ahead and check out books and return them. Just the library itself is not open to be used.
Right, you can't really browse. Okay, River Terrace, is there project planned out there? You want to take this one?
So currently there's a River Terrace, which is the Roy Rogers area out there. You have Beef Bend Road and Bull Mountain Road that tee into Roy Rogers. And even on the other side of Roy Rogers, that's Tigard. There's a lot of people that live on that side, and they may have a Tigard, a Beaverton, and even a Sherwood address, but they're actually all Tigard residents. And so there's a lot of construction going on there. Probably about, maybe 6-8 years ago, that was part of the urban growth boundary. That part was brought into Tigard. And so there's still construction going on out there. More homes are being built, developments going on. But there's two areas that the council is looking at. There's a corner of Beef Bend Road and Roy Rogers, and then there's a part by Roy Rogers and Shoals Ferry, which is West River Terrace and then South River Terrace. And both those areas we're looking at in the next couple of years to bring into the city of Tigard, as that area is developing out there. If you're going out Beef Bend Road and then Roy Rogers, the left side of it, King City has annexed all that area in, or going to be annexing that all in. So that's going to all be developed by King City on that other side. And on the other side of Roy Rogers Road and Beef Bend is a Lasage property, and that's park property that the city of Tigard bought about 2 years ago. For the aspect of before that area gets developed out there, that we have a pretty good sized parkland out there with access to the river.
Yeah, so that's the planning that's going on out there.
So yeah, and that's just a small snapshot. That's something too. If you want more details on it, there's the community development probably has some details on the website as far as what's going on out there, what's happening. But if you haven't been out that area, it's changed a lot. Even if you have every 6 months, that area is definitely changing a lot of growth, especially that new high school out there too.
We got another question. How much of the Tigard City budget goes to policing? And I was able to find it in the budget while we were sitting here. And according to this, of the total operating budget by department, the police is 26%. So that's what percentage of the operating budget the police receives. Public Works is 37%. So, and that's on page 5 of the current budget. So.
And also for the budget, there's many aspects of the budget. The police come from our general fund. The general fund primarily comes from property taxes. In the city of Tigard, even though our overall budget's really high, because we have our different enterprise funds, we have our water, we have different areas that we take care of. We have our own water source with Lake Oswego and Tigard Water Partnership. But with this the police, that comes directly just from our property tax, our general fund amount, and that's why we recently had a levy we put out for residents of Tigard that added about $2 million a year to be able to hire 8 new officers, a school resource officer, and mental health and de-escalation training. So with our general fund budget, we're limited to property tax increases, and we got locked into a low tax rate back in the 90s. So we have to do a lot with that general fund, but that's why we've found different creative options to fund the other resources we need in the city of Tigard.
Oh, thanks. We got a nice thank you for all we're doing for Tigard. Doing a great job tonight. Thank you very much, Connie.
Thank you, Connie.
Any update on Tigard Bowl? You were a great advocate for Tigard Bowl to the governor. I heard you on the governor's office. I heard you on a call. So you want to talk about that one? Yeah,
Tigard Bowl. The owner Mark Pearl. I've been talking to him regularly, off and on for weeks, and we have contact sports. We have the rest of the state. Basically, bowling alleys are open. Washington County, Clackamas County, and Multnomah County have all been tied together and all are in phase 1. But there's been a lot more push from the Tigard Chamber. Westside Economic Alliance is looking at writing a letter to the governor's office. The League of Oregon Cities, which is an organization that represents all the cities in Oregon, does a call every Friday around at 10 o'clock in the morning. And on that call, the governor's office is on there, the Oregon Health Authority. I've spoken up a few times. A lot of people too asked about bowling or Tigard Bowl. Have been talking to the governor's office more. And last week on the call, there was talks of possibly doing a phase 1.5 that would include bowling alleys, maybe movie theaters, a couple of things that would give them openings, restricted openings, but it would have to wait till phase 2. So there's more momentum going on. But businesses like Tigard Bowl and other like that should be open. When we have a lot of other businesses, bars where you can sit there and have a beverage with your mask off. You can't go bowling, which is probably more safe. And I was in Tigard Bowl, and they got plexiglass between each of the seats. The lanes are separated. So it's something I've been working on, trying to talk to the resources I can. But it's always great if people can send a like on social media or send a note to the governor's office. They even had a rally on Saturday morning on Pacific Highway, so we're out there for about an hour waving signs and saying, open us up. So he's been in business for about 50 years, and he's about a month away from going probably bankrupt and having to sell the building if somebody doesn't get reopened.
And I was listening on the call, and you did a great job advocating. And what I heard the governor's representative said they hope to have something in a couple of weeks. So that was a week ago. So I'm hoping by next week they'll have something.
I hope
They said
so.
a couple of weeks. Yeah. So.
I hope so, especially with the weather getting rainy and dark sooner. There's going to be more places needed to have people go inside and do stuff.
Okay, sincere gratitude for collective efforts correcting the hazard illegal parked car on 109th and Murdoch. We got an email on this earlier. This is great. Visibility is significantly improved. Special applause to Adam Jensen and Tegan Enlow for their efficient, personable, and professional responses. Thank you very much. We love to give our staff members shout out, and so we'll give a shout out to Adam Jensen and Tegan Enlow for their responsiveness on this issue. So thanks for sending that in.
Yeah, thank you. And that's what was kind of we referenced earlier, is that you can go online and if you see illegally parked cars and so forth, rather than having to hunt the number down or anything, just jump online, either at least just tag where it's at with a pin drop, or give more details or a picture. And our staff's great, so I'm glad to hear that it's working and you're getting great responses. Keep that handy, and in the future, please point out anything else that we can take care of or help out with.
And then the next question, is there any guidance or rules for Halloween and COVID, or is it up to individuals to figure out? We talked about this at the top of our show, I'll call it. There is information on our website, which Mr. Wyatt will post a link to. He's going to have carpal tunnel at the end of the night. About what the CDC and the Oregon Health Authority is recommending, and quite frankly, they're recommending folks not go trick-or-treating, but they have some other ideas for things that folks can do, and we talked about the activities that are happening on downtown Main Street, not a one-day trick-or-treat Main Street, but they've got the 2 weeks where kids can go and check out a vote for the best decorated window, and there's a scavenger hunt for witches and bats and cats, I think it is.
And pumpkins and all that stuff.
Yeah. So and take a selfie. So there's some fun activities. We've got a pumpkin scavenger hunt going. So there are some ideas on our website, thanks to our communications team led by Kent over there, who posted some ideas for folks. But again, you're right. There are some recommendations, but it is up to individual families to decide how they want to celebrate. So. Yeah,
I agree with Councilor Newton. All we're really doing is just referring to the Oregon Health Authority's website with what their guidance is, and leave that to people. As a city, we're trying to come up with social distance options that people can still do something. I mean, this is everyone's kind of making sacrifices this year, so I know kids always look forward to it. So we're trying to offer some options. And downtown Tigard is going to have a lot of great options spread out over a period of time. So that's why I think it's going to happen a lot more now with these events or holidays, is spread it out over a longer period of time so small numbers can maybe stop by, do something. So just keep an eye on the city's social media or website, but follow the Oregon Health Authority's guidelines.
Okay, our next question, how can we help our local businesses? I'm worried about losing them. Well, I think both of us lose some sleep over that too. We're trying to do what we can. We have right now a Shop Tigard contest going. So you can look on our website. You can win a $20 gift card. There's some participating businesses. You visit a business, you take a picture, and you post the picture on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Use the hashtag Shop Tigard and mention the business in your post. And we are we're conducting a weekly drawing, and you'll be notified via social media, and you get a card or a gift card to a local business, so that helps them as well. So besides encouraging all of you, I try to do takeout at least once a week. I try to patronize local dry cleaners and do that as much as I can. We also, as Council President Goodhouse mentioned, we're looking at we've done some grant programs, we've done some loans, we've done the utility relief program. Our economic development manager is fabulous, and he leveraged $300,000 to $1.3 million to give loans and grants to local businesses, and also now we're in round 2 of that. So we're trying to do what we can to keep them afloat. So, but as for those of you that live here or love to be part of the Tigard community, I'd suggest patronizing them as much as you can.
I agree. The more you can just get down to businesses, some people have more comfort levels where they'll go and and sit at a place. I know some of the businesses in Tigard have opened up more patio seating now that it's raining. They've also kind of made it covered so you can still go there and sit outside or dine in. But for those that aren't comfortable with, a lot of them have the option of either doing DoorDash or coming by and just picking up curbside delivery. If you're still not comfortable with any of those things, gift cards are great right now. With the holidays coming up, get a gift card for any of these places. Even some of the restaurants or organizations are doing a lot of, they'll donate their food somewhere. So you can even go in and say, hey, I'd like to, buy a meal, and can you give it to the local shelter or something like that as well. And what I always kind of find helpful is if you are getting a cup of coffee at a local coffee shop, or you're getting a sandwich, or you're buying something like that, it works great to take a picture of yourself. If you're on social media, take a picture of them, tag that in the post, share it so people can see it. It's a great way to spread the word of what we have in Tigard, but just remind people to get out there and shop our businesses. And if you're looking at gifts, Washington Square Mall is a great area, one of the top malls in the nation. But also downtown Tigard, we have a lot of places. There's Curiosities. It's a kind of a flea market set where you can go through there and get items. So maybe instead of jumping online to Amazon or somewhere else like that, find your places locally that you can go into a store, Joanne Fabrics, things like that, where you can go buy some crafts, buy items, buy gifts for the holidays.
Okay, and then Kent Wyatt has posted some information for us. There's a free webinar coming up, extending outdoor dining options into winter. So for restaurant owners out there, you can join us next Wednesday for a free webinar presented by YGH Architecture to learn about ideas to extend outdoor dining into the rainy season. So again, that's coming up next Wednesday, so check that out. Kent will post a link there. Okay, and then we got a note. Tim's spent hours reviewing submissions toward voting for candidates for the Public Safety Advisory Board, and I am seriously impressed with my community members who've answered the call to review city practices as a part of the Anti-Racism Action Plan. Thank you for that shout out. I made a decision that I wasn't going to review any of the applications until the community consensus came forward, so I'm really looking forward to reviewing them next week.
Agree as well. We're October 20th is when the council is going to get the packet for the final candidates for us to consider, read all the information and go through that, and then the following council meeting will be deliberating and picking the members to be on there.
Yeah, so we're excited about that.
Yes, and it is. We have a great community, great members, and a lot of great applicants. Just looking through the names of who applied. And
I'm really grateful to the folks that took the time to review the candidates. That's really great. I really appreciate the time that took. So, okay, if the Metro Transportation Bond fails on Election Day, what is the city's plan B to address long-standing transportation issues? Well, for the city, we're working on an updated transportation system plan. And so for us, the Metro Transportation Plan, or bond, would have provided funding for the Southwest Corridor and also, as Council President Goodhouse mentioned, a study for improvements to 99. But the Metro Transportation Plan didn't have any other funding for our local transportation project.
And actually, I think it was only the Southwest Corridor that $5 million study. That's going to be, I think, done whether or not the transportation bond passes or fails.
Okay.
That's something that's been lobbied, worked on through with Metro, with the state legislation as well. So that $5 million is something that will happen either way as far as a 99W study. So the only real impact is going to be for Tigard is whether or not the light rail project gets put on hold or not. I don't think they're going to get rid of it with all the work that's been put into it, but it'll be put on pause.
Right.
But as far as transportation issues, we have a lot of our council members that are on different committees, locally, the state, or federally. We're working on, trying to get more grant money to come to Tigard. A lot of this time with, someone asked earlier, what does a councilor do? We spend a lot of time making relationships with our local officials, state officials, and a lot of different federal government agencies. And we do a lot of different conferences and stuff like that. So we're really working as much as we can to get transportation dollars to us, get grants to us, and advocate at the federal level to have more money sent to us as well.
Thanks for that correction on the 5,000. Appreciate it. Okay, any other questions there, Mr. Wyatt?
Not yet, but just a reminder we have.
Okay, and I wanted to mention the Universal Plaza. We are excited about the planning that we're doing on our Universal Plaza downtown. This is exciting. I'm sure it's exciting to Council President Goodhouse as well, but when I worked for the city, we've been talking about a downtown plaza since the park bond of 2009. And there was money set aside in that park bond to fund purchase of property, so we got that set aside. And so now we're actually to the point where we're designing it, and it's really exciting. And so if you haven't seen the video that I have a starring role in, that's on our website. And what I'm most excited about on the Universal Plaza is we're going to be adding some elements as we're working on the plan that the community can engage in or with. There's going to be some art installations. One of the things they're doing is they call them apple box benches, so you'll be able to go in and move them around, and they're just going to see how that flows. And so I'm excited about the opportunity for the community to interact with some of these pieces that are going to be put on the site and see what people's reaction is to them. I'm most excited though about the twinkly lights. December to January there's going to be, I think it's 16, they're not real trees, but they're movable trees that are going to be lit up. They're beautiful, so I'm excited for those, so we'll have to check out the twinkle lights. So it's going to be a real interactive design process, and everything will be done for social distancing. There's a camera mounted on the B&B litho site, so you can kind of watch what's happening as we're doing the planning for that plaza. So that's an exciting thing I wanted to make sure to mention. Do you have any comments?
And for the Universal Plaza, for people that may not know where it is or what it is, it's in downtown Tigard, and so there's Main Street's the main street where all the businesses are on, and there's Burnham, which is the road's pretty fixed up. There's the Tigard Liquor Store, there's the Tigard Tap House, there's Stevens Marina, and then there's an empty lot next to that. So it used to be the old Ferguson Plumbing building, which was owned by the city of Tigard. That land and that building, Ferguson was a tenant of the city of Tigard. And so when we were looking for, people wanted an area where they could have a big gathering area, splash pads possibly, hold a bigger market, hold events, concerts, so forth like that. And we were looking for a bigger location. We decided to use the last of the park bond, as Councilor Newton said. And so that's the location what the Universal Plaza is. And that sounds like right now that's probably going to be the name. It could change later on. And what we're doing is we're doing a trial kind of to see what works best for activating that space. And so as Councilor Newton said, there's going to be a lot of different things coming, a musical bench, piano bench, the boxes that move around. There's a webcam that people can jump on there, so if people don't want to leave the house with social distancing, they can still jump on there and see the artwork that's been painted on the ground. They can see the twinkly trees when they're there. And we're also looking for, during this whole time, we're looking for public comment and feedback for what works there, what doesn't work there, what people want to see. We seem that the biggest thing we get is though people want splash pads. So
yes.
So we want a splash pad.
It's exciting because we the part of the planning team and the design team is a pretty internationally renowned water feature designer, and he's I think started working yesterday or Wednesday. Yeah, that was yesterday. So that we are going to integrate a water feature splash pad kind of thing. You can become a design advisor, so if you go on the website, you can sign up to become a design advisor. So if you want the opportunity to weigh in on the different elements, it's not hard to do. You just go online and agree to do some engagement activities, either online or virtually, to give your feedback, and it's pretty easy to do. So that's where that is, and it's pretty exciting that we're finally moving forward. We've got about 12 minutes. The plan to hire the next city manager, what exactly are the responsibilities for a city manager? Okay. The plan is we have engaged a executive search firm to help us with this search, and we're in the process right now. The councilors have all talked with the firm, the representative from the firm, about what we're looking for in the next city manager, and we're going to be designing the recruitment process. We have a discussion coming up next week, I think, to talk about that, and then so we'll be moving forward with that. So we'll do probably a national recruitment, and that will launch in the next month or so, and then we'll design a process that will give the community some ability to weigh in on what they think is important to look for, and the staff, and so we'll move forward that way. So that's where we are.
Yeah, it's kind of as you said, it's going to be a pretty in-depth process. The key of hiring an outside firm like that is be able to do a national search, find the requirements that are the council, the city, and the partners that work with the city really want to see in a city manager. And so it'll be already it's been an in-depth process, but then also once we start narrowing down the applicants, there will be a pretty in-depth process as far as the city staff, the council, and community members and partners weighing in on that conversation of what that city manager is going to be like. And for, what does a city manager do with Councilor Newton being our past interim city manager and assistant city manager, so she knows a little more of the tasks.
Right. So I guess the way I explain it, the simplest way, is if you think about a private corporation, and you think about the city council as the board of directors, and you think about the city manager as the chief operating officer. So the city manager is responsible for running the city day to day. So most of the department directors, all of them except for the judge and technically the city recorder, report to the city manager. So the police chief and the community development director and all the departments report to the city manager, and the city manager is also the budget officer, so they're responsible for the final preparation of the budget and submitting that to the budget committee. So it's essentially someone who is responsible for the day-to-day operation of the city. That's, in a nutshell, what the city manager does.
And for kind of a quick organizational chart, we do have the city council. So the city council is responsible for hiring and giving reviews for the city manager, the city attorney, and the judge for the city. So those are the only three direct positions the city council does, but it will come down to the city council to do the final hire. We do the review and everything with the city manager, but the city manager does anything from overseeing all the departments, working with the community, representing the city with all the other municipalities and partners that we work with.
Developing partnerships with other governmental agencies, the community, business community, working with the chamber.
Basically the CEO of Tigard.
Right. And also we're making sure that the council goals that are adopted are implemented. So they sort of steer that through the organization. So anyway.
And we did have and with the current city manager, manager Marty Wine. When she's leaving, she's going to the city of Monmouth, who will be the city manager there. At our council meeting on Tuesday night, we did a proclamation that tomorrow, October 16th, will be Marty Wine Day. So that will be the first ever, but that was our thank you for the 9 years of service she did with us. She did a great job, been through a lot of different changes in Tigard, a lot of processes, a lot of things we did. So she did a great job for us. The video was recorded, so if anyone wants to go back and watch the beginning part of the council meeting from Tuesday night, we had a lot of people called in, thanked her for her time, had some great stories, and we passed that proclamation. So tomorrow I'm sure you'll see a lot of things on social media for Marty Wine Day.
Right, and there won't be a parade, but I'm thinking about having cake. So anyway, so we really appreciate Marty and wish her the best in her next adventure, and so. Sad for us, happy for her. Anyway.
And so right now we have Kathy Nyland, which is will be the interim city manager in place until we do find a new city manager.
Right. So she's going to serve in the interim. And Kent reminded us that we did solicit some community input last month on what the community was looking for in a city manager, and thank you to the 50 of you that responded. We really value the community input there. We've got a little over 5 minutes left. There's some upcoming events we want to tell you about. The next Mayor's Fireside listening session is Thursday, November 5th at 6:30 on Facebook Live. On Thursday, November 19th, Council President Goodhouse will be back with Councilor Anderson. And on Thursday, December 17th, Council President Goodhouse and I will be back for the last Spark conversation of the year. So hope you can join us. We really enjoy doing this and getting your questions and learning about what's on your mind. So I also, in terms of other big projects we were working on, I thought of the Washington Square project. We're doing some planning in the Washington Square area. So if you're interested in learning more about that, there's information on our website. It's just really re-looking at the whole Washington Square area and determining what we want to look for in terms of development, housing, transportation improvements, and so we're doing a full re-look at that. And as you probably know, we're working really hard on the Tigard Triangle, and the downtown continues to develop, and so we're working on planning for those two areas. And in the Tigard Triangle, we've got a lot of exciting projects, some affordable housing and other multifamily housing, and some infrastructure improvements going on there. And in the downtown, we're still working on some projects on Main Street, so that AVA project. So anyway.
And with the and another area that we've had some people write in or have questions about, with the weather changing and there's going to be more rain coming, every year it kind of comes up with the Fano Creek path that goes under the Shoals Ferry. There's work on that. And Ken can share this link as well. There's been a lot of work and movement on that, because what happens when it rains a lot, that the sidewalk that goes underneath the Shoals Ferry will flood and people can't get from one side to the other side. They have to figure out how to get around on Shoals Ferry. So we're in the process of doing a cross signal there, where it's going to be push a button and it should be able to stop traffic. So we're still working out the final details, but that's going to be the goal, is to have a singled crossing there where people can basically go up that, don't have to go to either of the lights. They can get there, push a button, and be able to cross the road when that does flood. They're looking at doing some creek mediation a little bit, but the way it is, there's nothing that can be really permanently done to actually stop the water from coming through there. So they're looking at this for a fix, so people can still get from one side to the other side of the trail.
When it's pouring rain.
Yes.
We've been reminded that National Prescription Drug Take Back Day is Saturday, October 24th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I believe it's the drive-through thing we do right outside City Hall here, right by the police department. And so that's really popular. I get a lot of people in the community asking me when the next one's going to be. So thanks for reminding us of that, Kent. And are they taking food this time? Do you know?
I do not, but yeah, we have gotten a number of questions about that.
Yeah, so we are or we're not.
I haven't heard.
We haven't heard. So stay tuned for that. We'll post something about that on social media.
That might also be it.
Leaf disposal and food drive event at Cook Park. So this is where you get rid of all your leaves that fall off, the beautiful leaves that fall off the trees, and you can donate non-perishable food items. And this is the 18th year. It's going to be at Cook Park, which is at the end of 92nd, just off Durham Road. Most people know where that is. There are 4 dates: Saturday, November 7th, Saturday, November 21st, Saturday, December 5th, and Saturday, December 12th. And you can do that between 9 and 3 on those Saturdays. So depending on when your leaves are on the ground, take advantage of that event.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was going to mention too, if you're looking for any other events, we mentioned the trick or treat events going on, but there is a downtown Tigard. There is a couple. I think starting next week, there's some events. I think there's some kind of a you can go and experience all different kind of the nightlife in Tigard, and some of those profits go to our nonprofits. I think there's some kind of a specialty drink thing. There's also some other fundraisers. I think there's this weekend there's something for breast cancer awareness or for cancer awareness. There's some different events. So if you go also into that explore downtown Tigard, you can see a bunch of the events that are coming either this weekend or next week. But that's a great way to take a look at either things for the families, for the kids, or things for adults to do as well. So the downtown Tigard, if you haven't been down there lately, there's a lot of things coming, a lot of events going on. And as Councilor Newton said, the Tigard Triangle, which is 99W, 217, and I-5, there's a lot of growth. There's about 20 different projects, either in the application phase, beginning phases, or end phases of construction. I think we got a senior home going in there. I think a hotel's being built. There's a 6-story, 250 unit
Something like that.
apartment complex unit going in there with a mixed use, retail on the bottom. So there's definitely taken off, and there's going to be a whole plan of what's going to look like with pedestrians and getting around through that area, and restoring the Red Rock Creek in the area as well. So
exciting things happening in Tigard. Looks like we've got about a minute left, and so we want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you so much for your questions. We really appreciate it. It's really great. I think it's really fun to to be able to engage with folks this way, and I really look forward to hearing what's on your mind and the kinds of things you're interested in learning and hearing about. So I'll let you say your goodbyes and we'll sign off.
Thank you. Yes, thank you everyone. Had a great evening. Please at any time reach out to council mail, find any of us on social media, ask us questions. We always love to hear what's working, what's not working. But please everyone be safe. Wear masks so businesses and people can stay open and be safe, and have a safe Halloween.
And let's thank Kent Wyatt
Yes,
for
thank you, Kent.
keeping us on track. So thank you. Good night.
Good
Be
night.
safe.